The women's world title takes to the street, and Roman Reigns quickly makes his choice. Next, WWE followed up the Royal Rumble with a bunch of talking, but I'll do the opposite and try to keep her brief as we go to topic number 1, a Philadelphia corkscrew, because in a night with only 3 matches, the ones we got better be about as good as a cheesesteak from, I don't know, I try to stay away from Philadelphia. But Stephanie and Raquel scored big on this Philadelphia street fight in a way that the Flyers never will. Alright, enough of that, but this match had a lot of everything, especially a heavy dose of tables, stairs, and chairs, and appropriately, garbage cans. You know it's going to be a good one when Raquel throws Stephanie through a table right before the first commercial break. I loved when we came back and Raquel kicked the steps with Stephanie's injured leg between it and the post, and it was a really good way to emphasize her injury. It was nice to see both of them take their turn eating some chairs, first with Raquel sending Stephanie crashing through them with a follow-away slam, and then Raquel got it twice, first by missing her corkscrew elbow, and then taking a devil's kiss on top of a chair. But that wasn't the only steal that Raquel would be smooching, as Stephanie followed that up with another kiss on top of the steel steps. That was definitely a tush push will never looked banned, even if it was banned over the weekend. Anyway, Stephanie's dragon screw and knee drop is always so punishing, and it's especially impressive that it looked that brutal, even with lots of toys laying everywhere throughout the mat. But you never knew that Liv would not listen to Raquel's earlier request, and while giving Raquel the title should have helped here, it immediately backfired as Raquel ate another chair because of it. And poor Roxanne was quite worthless and immediately went through a table for her troubles of trying to set things right. And props on the finish, as I actually thought Raquel just might send Stephanie through that table with an avalanche powerbomb, but it was not meant to be. And sure, the table barely cracked from Stephanie's Hurricane Rana off the top rope, but you can never go wrong with the corkscrew splash to end it. So it looks like Liv is pretty close to making her decision after the oblivion following the match, but she's got a lot of explaining to do for messing up Raquel's last best chance at the title, so the Judgment Day drama is just about to kick into high gear. Topic number 2, filled with hate, as unlike Liv Morgan earlier, Roman Reigns didn't take any time to make his decision to challenge Punk at WrestleMania, but Punk expertly goaded him into making the right call, first addressing Balor, then calling him a visitor on his own show, then saying that Reigns would take the easy way out with McIntyre, and then reminding Reigns that he only beat McIntyre with lots of help from his family, which was really just Reigns holding the company hostage. And Reigns also only having that long title reign following in Punk's blueprint when Heyman was by his side. And then Punk compared his run as a fighting champion to Reigns being a part-timer, and of course that Punk brought him to the main roster first with the Shield. And to Reigns' credit, he did say that Punk's only making all the rounds because he was gone for 10 years, but that's about it, as Reigns admitted that Punk's words on a podcast a decade ago has made Reigns hate Punk this whole time. And that's some really thin skin there, dude. This is definitely not a fair fight on the mic, so it's good that Reigns can probably take off another month or so before we finally kick things into high gear. To the winner of the week, that is Penta, because he somehow survived a rough beating by Bronson Reed, including a tsunami, as well as some distractions from Paul in Theory to get some help from LA Knight at the right time to miraculously get a win. Unfortunately, there was no Mexican Destroyer tonight, but Penta might just have gotten himself out of the Vision's crosshairs, as Knight was more than happy to go right back after them after he put him on the shelf for 2 months. This loss stunningly makes Reed 0-5 to start 2026, but this seems to be all about Breakker and Pierce, with Breakker blowing a gasket to start the show over the Masked Man ruining his chances at the Rumble. And I don't blame him there, because that was a terrible decision by Pierce, or whoever else backstage thought that that was a good idea. And lastly, our loser of the night is the War Raiders, as the War Raiders started 2025 as the World Tag Team Champions, but they start 2026 by getting squashed by one man. Yes, that man is the monstrous Opa Femi, but that was still quite embarrassing. How did this go so badly for them so quickly? After dropping the titles at WrestleMania, they only had 3 wins the rest of the year, and 2 of those were in 6-man tags helping out Penta. And none of those wins were after September. But perhaps if they look that bad in the ring, just think how badly Femi must have beaten up whoever their opponents were supposed to be in gorilla position to not even go out there. It will definitely be interesting to see where WWE decides to go with Femi, both in terms of which brand, and also in terms of whether they give him a real feud to have a legitimate WrestleMania program, or if it's just a slower build aimed at the next cycle. Either way, I have no doubt that Femi will be awesome, but the War Raiders better find another war to rage elsewhere. And yet again, I did not beat the 10 count, but man, that was an awfully fast count by the ref, but I think a half episode was warranted when WWE didn't even want to give us much wrestling. But I did give you a full extra video for the Royal Rumble, so be sure to go right on over here and check out that Royal Rumble video where I named all the winners and losers of both Rumble matches. So until next time, I am the SportsZu, and this has been Stop the 10 Count.